and Barb and Peggy should be back this week. Haven't heard anything from Peggy. She's still okay. Take a motion on the minutes. Anybody?
I'll make a motion that we accept April 4th and April 18th minutes. I wasn't here on the 11th, so I can't make that.
Anybody want to add to that? Or do you want to just do these two? We can do these two. Okay, I just need a second for Alan.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
Yes, on the April 4th meeting, when I come here from the public, I think that Mr. Teskey's, Mr. Zimmerman, and Mrs. Rain's letters that they wrote should be accompanied with the minutes. I'd like to see that in there. And on April 18th, it said that Councilperson Olson has concerns about council getting legal advice. He would like the city code of conduct added to the contract. That was actually the city attorney's contract, the code of ethics for the city attorney, not the city of code. So that changed in there.
A second.
I wasn't done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On the first paragraph there, it says, Mr. Tennant asked why he had been avoiding the council for the last 3 months, not answering their questions about his contract. And Mr. Tennant responded that he was not working under a contract. And you had told us that he had been under a contract for 90 days. So that needs to be corrected.
What do you think about that?
I think we didn't have a written contract. It's based on a writing.
Come on.
Wow.
You was
We had a
hired.
verbal contract, and it's evidenced by writing, it just wasn't signed.
So you were sworn in and everything, but you didn't have a contract.
Well, I don't know if that's how I'd word it.
I'll word it your way.
I think we had an agreement, which is a contract.
It wasn't in writing.
You're in some gray legal area here, because a contract can be based on writing, it doesn't have to be signed. An unsigned contract, and that contract would be admitted into evidence if it came to that.
But it says right here, you were not working under a contract. Is that true or not?
I do not believe that's true.
Okay, so then let's strike that sentence out of the minutes.
I did.
Yep.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion, any further, I guess? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Aye.
How's that? That's two of them.
That's just two, yeah, we gotta get the, we need to get the 11, was it 11?
Yep. I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from the April 11th meeting.
Second that.
Any discussion on that one?
Call for the question?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. On to committee reports. Well, Peg's not here, cemetery and parks, I don't think we're doing anything right now. Fire, Brian.
I actually did not get anything from Tom or Steve today, but I did not get direct numbers.
No numbers for the fire department, okay. Chief Watson, police report.
I have April's stats. We have 264 calls, 20 citations, and 19 arrests. Our caseload, our calls were up 71 calls over last April. Increase.
Any questions for Chief Watson? Thank you very much, sir. Resolutions and ordinances, Peggy's not here, but we got a handful that we got a committee and have to look at it. Okay, let the report. Okay. Light streets and sidewalks, anything on that, Jim? Do you have anything? Light streets and sidewalks, anything?
No.
Any numbers, you got those two? Okay. Building? Brent, anything on that? Or, excuse me, I'm sorry. No.
We're still working in regards to the fire hall roofs. We have received 3 engineering reports so far. Fasori was actually going to be contacting Jim last week. I was on last week, I believe he did, to set up a time to evaluate the roof. Mast Roofing mentioned that they would be contacting us at the beginning of May to schedule a time as well to take a look at it. And we're hoping, we were going to have a building committee meeting Wednesday at noon, but just as of a few minutes ago, it looks like we're gonna reschedule that to Thursday at noon, if that time works for you.
I'll resend it.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. Okay, water and sewer.
The gentleman from the sewer treatment plant called me today and said they're gonna be demoing a inline camera system on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. If anybody's interested in going look at the system, I'd recommend at least the water and sewer. It looks like it's something that they want to pursue for scoping out the sewer lines that they're having problems with. So they're gonna demo this particular system here and then look and see, about getting something. So if you guys can make it at 9 a.m., at least go and see what it consists of and what works. Well, we're gonna meet at the sewer treatment plant, but I'm not sure what line. I asked them to find some problem lines, so we could really look and see what the issues are. So they're gonna take, whoever shows up down somewhere, and like I said, the company's coming up and demo this thing, and they'll look at what kind of resolution, what kind of problems we can look at getting resolved with this system. I think it's something that we should seriously be looking into instead of digging up, senseless chasing things, so.
And we have talked about it over the years, quite a number of times, it's been brought forward. It's always been cost usually, I don't know if they've given you any numbers on.
Jim mentioned something around the $40,000 mark, but I might be able to look at, getting some financing or something. I don't know anything until Wednesday really hard on it, but if you guys get a chance, at least go down and take a look and see what it consists of. So we go up.
Personnel? Anything? Nothing on budget? City administrator, we got anything on that?
That's in my report.
Okay. All right, hear from the public on items on the agenda. Yes, Mr. President.
So, Rob Hubbard at 15 Northwood. So I had a few items I was going to talk about on the agenda, but another one just came up while I was watching this. So, in regards to personnel, Mr. Tennant, our new city attorney, we have a council that just doesn't have a clue. You guys, I'm appalled. So, Mr. Tennant, just so you know, it just happened. And this was off topic of what I was going to talk about. The minutes are supposed to be what was actually said in the meeting, right? And so you all just made a motion and then seconded the motion to strike what was actually said at that meeting, so there's no record of the lie that he said in the meeting. Do you understand that? Do you understand what minutes are? Why you're approving the minutes? To keep a record of what was actually said. You just passed a motion to strike what was actually said because he doesn't like what he said. These are our leaders, you guys. You guys. Okay. There's nothing on the agenda.
Again.
Now, we have nothing other than normal. So we have 2 issues. Either you don't care enough to ask Doug to put this issue sitting right there in the white shirt on the agenda and all of his issues with the Supreme Court and the embarrassment that our town gets to suffer because of it, or somebody did try to do their job and Doug wouldn't put it on the agenda. Neither is acceptable. Okay, you guys were voted to represent Libby. And not one of you have a clue what you're doing. And it's affecting every one of us. And I like all of you as people, but you're terrible at governing. Terrible. You're letting an attorney talk you guys around in circles about whether he did or didn't. You guys should really dig into what powers you hold so that you can fix this mess. Because I have to ask you, council, if Doug Roll went out and wrote a check for $400,000 to himself. I think we would all agree action needs to happen. So when you're thinking about your powers, or lack thereof, based on your actions, the same thing that you would take to cure that problem is also the same action you could take to cure all of these problems. But what's happening is we're just kicking it down the road. We just keep kicking the can down the road. It's not so bad. And everybody says, oh, you just don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. They're just really after them. Really? We talked about this a year ago. I did, specifically, and told you exactly what was going to happen. And here we sit today, the city of Libby. We have somebody as a city attorney, but did anybody even think to ask him some qualification questions? How long have you been an attorney? Have any pending disciplinary actions with the Office of Disciplinary Counsel? You ever swindled a house from a guy that you know, a number of things you could have asked him. Felony convictions. Did anybody ask any of it? Yes, this has to do with personnel, by the way. I know you don't like it.
Oh, it's not that.
What is it then?
You're way over your time and we're getting off topic here.
What topic are you on, Brent?
You've varied a whole range of topics.
Should I stay on the topic you would like? Explain to me what topic you want me to be on, Brent.
Personnel, wrap up what you were talking about.
Wrap up?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking as a member of the public. You don't dictate to me what I talk about. Are we clear?
I'll make a motion to allow Rob to speak. He's been stifled to gain lecture. And he's right in everything that he's saying.
Oh, I don't disagree with you.
The problem's not there, the problem's here.
I agree with you.
Well, then let him talk, even if he is a little off the subject.
Well, just so everybody knows, I'm not off my subject. I'm sure we would all like to go aye, and then go home, right? But that gets nothing done. So if we have to turn the timer over again, because you guys need to hear, you guys are accountable to us, right? You understand that, okay? So I know nobody understands how this really works, but he's the CEO, and you're like the board of directors. I know that probably doesn't make any sense to anybody, but he is beholden to you, and you are beholden to these people. That's how it works, okay? So when I send an email to Dijon or Brian, and Brian, thank you for responding, nobody responds, right? Because you don't care. No one cares to respond to someone that maybe is going to say something they don't like. But all your cheerleaders you're responding to, right? I just want people that are in elected positions to be held accountable. That's it. And I think that's what everybody wants. And then, I take that back. We do want you to make some good decisions on top of that. Okay, but baby steps. First one is be held accountable. And when you do really good, I'm the first one to cheer you. Unfortunately, the only good I've ever seen was when y'all stood up here and gave a bunch of lip service followed by no action. So for this 3 minutes, I'll conclude, okay? All right.
Anybody else? Mr. Canaan?
Bill Kinane, 622 Michigan Avenue, Libby. And it's the first time I've seen Mr. Tennant here. A couple things, two things. Number one, you mentioned that there wasn't a contract, there was a contract, there wasn't a contract. Business Law 101 and 102, contract constitutes an agreement, be verbal or written, between two parties in total. That means the city council as well. That's business law 101. Every business law student learns that from get-go. I learned that many, many years ago. I'll tell you that right now. For years now, I've been harping on the fact that we haven't had any paper trail of actions done by the city in agreements, be they contracts, be they agreements, with nothing but verbals. He said, she said. We're back to square one, right here again. This has to stop. It has to stop now. we also need to look at, was there an agreement? Was there a contract? And if there was a contract, is he getting paid for it? If there wasn't a contract, he should be paid for it, plain and simple. Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Orr?
D.C. Orr, I reside at 1117 Nevada Avenue. I want to talk about item number 3 on the agenda, the approval of the minutes. You guys are accountable to each other. The mayor is accountable to you. You are accountable to the voters, but you're all accountable to the law. It is Article 2, Section 8 of the Montana Constitution that provides for public participation in every single action this body takes. If you guys get emails and you don't respond, that means you're not allowing public participation. The special meeting, or the meeting of 4/18/16, the appointment of the city attorney, did not allow for any public participation. Generally, you have an item on the agenda, hear from the public. You guys didn't do that night. You didn't want to hear from the public. You wanted to shove a dirty attorney down our throat, just like you've done with the last 2 attorneys. This is going to go the same place that the last 2 attorneys went. It's going to go bad for Libby. Now, you guys do have opportunity to reconsider that motion because you didn't have all the information, which goes back to the previous attorney who was withholding information. He was giving it to the mayor, and the mayor was not passing it on. It ended up in a complaint that went to the ODC, and that's how we found out that the mayor was withholding information. Now, I suspect the mayor was withholding information about this investigation and complaint prosecution against your city attorney. You guys need to get all the facts. Like tonight, we're listening to your attorney saying, well, I didn't have a contract. Well, I had a verbal contract, but it was in writing, but it wasn't signed. But I didn't have a contract, but I did have a contract. And all of you are sitting there with puzzled looks on your faces. You don't know whether he had a contract or not. You don't know what went on there. What you have to know is you've been lied to. And if you've been lied to by your own attorney, you cannot trust your attorney. That goes straight to the heart of public trust. You guys have to build that trust because it's not being built in the center here. So you guys have opportunity tonight to reconsider the motion, go back, get the facts, find out if he had a contract, if he didn't have a contract, was it in writing, was it verbal? Find out if he lied to you. If he lied to you, don't hire an attorney that lies to you. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else? Mr. McGill?
Oh, this is so much fun. Arlen McGill, 807 Wisconsin Avenue in Libby. About the tenant contract and him wanting to change the minutes already. Maybe he should have asked to change the part where he said that the $900 trips here to Libby, if he could save maybe 4 of them a year, would save him. What was it? What was it that you said? If you could save 4 trips a year by not coming to these meetings, when your contract had said, I will attend every meeting, every special meeting, and yet you say, oh, well, if I don't have to come to, say, maybe just 4 of them a year, that's 3-hour trips that I can save. That's 15 hours I could save right there, 900 billing hours. Well, that being said, Mr. Tennant, 4 times 3 is 12, by the way, buddy. And if you can't even, add that up, you're sitting there all red in the face. I'm just going to suggest to the city council members and the mayor, whatever you do, don't put up any city for collateral for this guy, because he'll turn around and buy it pennies on the dollar at auction.
Anybody else?
Before you go on, I do have a motion, and we need to make a motion to reconsider the vote. I am making a motion to reconsider our motion on April 18th to hire David Tennant.
Yes.
I do believe that I hope that one of you 3 will give a second so we can get a discussion.
Yes.
And I will, I'll second it for discussion.
All right. Yay. Thank you.
To start with, I believe you knew, and I know you knew, And that's why we had the meeting on the 18th. The day, nothing, we didn't ask for the
I will
attorney.
answer you, I did not. I had no point.
Sorry, John,
You
your
should've.
credibility
And I,
is lost.
did you tell me? I mean, that's the way.
Oh, he didn't know.
I
This
found out on
isn't just a
Tuesday.
complaint.
I found out on Tuesday.
You've known for a year.
Oh,
You knew that complaint went to the office of discipline.
Hey, I found out Friday.
That's enough, guys, let's keep calling
Formal
you.
complaint
How
has
did he
been
know before
filed.
him though?
This is not just a formal complaint from the citizen, this is from the ODC.
I know,
It's
that's what-
exactly the same kind of complaint that Jonathan modeled from the Office of Political Practice is against Doug Roll.
No,
It isn't a citizen's complaint. I think at a minimum, he should be suspended from the city council without pay
Yes.
until we get a new face here, or fire the whole law firm. I don't give a crap.
Yes.
But we do he's following down the same track. Reinsma, Doug Scott, or like Alan Payne, and now you. I'm sick to death of Libby's embarrassment. And do you think this is gonna help Libby, what you're going through right now?
I'll voluntarily resign if that's what you guys want.
Well,
That's the correct thing to do.
Some more discussion here?
The city can't be
Well,
like,
just, I mean, did you not know coming into it that night? This was coming out the very next day.
I didn't, I got.
It was filed April
somebody
15th.
in- I got texted from somebody in New Jersey, that's how I found out about it.
You got a copy, ECF.
I mean, it literally wasn't 18 hours later.
From the Supreme Court.
Yeah. no,
You got a
Yes.
copy, ECF to you, April 15th from the Supreme Court.
no, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
it's online.
It's online.
There's proof.
Let that
Yeah.
go.
He's lying now.
Move on
I
and
accept
he offered
David
to
Tennant's
resign.
resignation. I'll make a motion to accept it.
No, I said I will if that's what the council decides they want to do.
That's what the city wants. That's what we
Yeah, I
want.
know, that's fine. We already got a motion on the table in a second. We'll continue on with that. You guys have anything to add?
speak up.
Just don't continue to need the black eye. And if we can't do it, I'll call a point of order and I'm rescinding my vote from last month. But I will not vote for someone like this attorney. And we've had 3 attorneys. And I'm sorry, you personally have embarrassed this town to the point where the most laughing stock across the state. And now you just continue to add attorneys that fill your pocketbook.
No, not mine. I don't know if you didn't know anything from Adam. Brian, you got anything to add?
Speak up.
Come on, Brian.
My concern
He lies.
was, prior to him offering to resign, was that the contract that we passed and approved, back in April, it didn't have any specifications, talking about, for instance, of something. So I had concerns about if we were to pass some type of motion, the one that you're offering there, I would have wanted to get more legal counsel before we confirmed that, because there was nothing in the contract that talked about how to handle this,
It's
how to
new
terminate
evidence.
it.
Closure.
Yeah,
It's
but,
new evidence. We didn't know any of this. We made a vote on something we didn't know.
You guys can fire
The
anyone
very
you want.
next day, I'm sorry, I think you should be fired, new face, I don't care. I don't think you're awful.
When they say if I'm a representative.
They said if we needed to, we could go.
But is the law firm any
The
better
firm knows, guys.
when they knew?
It's been going on a year.
That's what I'm saying. It's not just David Tennant's problem, it's his law firm's problem too.
Well, we have a motion on the floor. Any other discussion?
Do the right thing, guys.
I think if we need to filter through an attorney every month until we get someone that's legit, that can give us the legal advice that we need. You've got a letter there that he can't even tell us if 4 people is a quorum. I mean, if we can't get something that simple, a yes or a no, as simple as that, then I'm sorry, he's the wrong person for Libby, Montana.
Amen.
We've suffered enough, period.
So the motion on the floor
Anyway,
was
you
to
don't interrupt.
revisit, I believe. What was the motion on?
Doug, let the council do their meeting.
The meeting is, the motion is to
Sit your mouth,
reconsider
you're
the hire
right.
of David Tennant.
To reconsider, okay. All right. I just wanted to do it. Okay.
so by reconsidering, does that mean that this contract that we approved last month?
He's a
that
crook.
this is
It's
what-
firing.
Hold on,
Quiet,
excuse
quiet
me.
down, please. And the other.
I think, like I said before, as a council, we need to sit down before we agree to this, and we need to write the council.
Well, hold on. If excuse me, just want to be sure we're doing everything properly for the town, so if you would, please let us discuss.
Right.
You're saying that before we can accept this, but my concerns is that we already accepted this last month.
That's right.
I know that we have new information that we're all trying to process, and I apologize, Mr. Ten, I know this is very uncomfortable right now, but we gotta deal with this. So we have new information, but what I was trying to say earlier is that new information though, via this route, talking about reconsidering, we're essentially terminating this contract, but there was nothing written up in this contract talking about how to terminate it, what the proper protocol is, et cetera. And I'm nervous if you do it this route,
But
I'm not,
we have the right to fire him.
where does it say that in the
Anytime.
contract?
He wrote the contract. Do you think he's gonna put something like that in the
Well-
contract?
But let's again, excuse me, let's talk about this. If we're terminating a contract saying we have the right to fire anyone and we're firing an attorney firm, I want to be careful on how we do that, make sure if that's the route that the city decides to go, that it's done properly, et cetera, if that's the route that we decide to go. And I'm a little bit nervous on this route because I don't know if that's the proper route to go about it. I'm not saying that I'm opposed to it, that I'm for it, I'm just saying that I don't know if that's the correct step at this moment in
If
time.
we don't address this tonight, he's our attorney for the next 2 years, no matter what kind of mud we get drugged through for him. We have to address it tonight.
Whenever you guys request me to leave, I'll sign a release and walk out.
Legal judgment on it.
Request is for a motion to reconsider. What I would like to do, if you want to do this, and if it does go through, then put it on the next agenda.
Right now, here and there.
Go back
If
to the
he's-
bowling
if
alley.
he's
No, it's getting pretty awkward.
being stand-up right now, and he is
I think
offering
we
to
have
walk
some
out,
questions.
I'd say we take it.
I think we're having some questions over here as far as what.
It's because
He's
she
making the
doesn't
offer
know
to
what
walk
she's
out.
doing.
Well, then the only question is legal procedure, you know, and if he's willing to willingly go, then that kind of bypasses the legal procedure. Otherwise, it would be, what's the legal procedure? It's technically firing. So if he's willing to resign or quit at the request of the council, then he bypasses all that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you're more
Yeah.
comfortable
Thank you,
with that.
Fesky.
No, it's up. Yeah, you got whatever you want to do.
Ask for the release.
So I would take his, if he's willing to resign, I'd say we sign the paper and
We have a motion and we have a second, and unless anybody got anything else to add. Anything, Brian?
No questions?
Will you accept public comment?
Not at this point, we already got it.
Your council.
We're asking the council.
I will accept public comments because you're right. We do not know it all. And that, we work for you people. So yes, please step to the podium and speak your mind.
Well,
I'm DC Orr, 1117 Nevada Avenue. What you're doing here, a motion to reconsider comes right out of your parliamentary procedure. I sent you all an email today about this, so you should have been studied up on it. You should have known what you're doing. What you're doing is you have new information that you did not have on the 18th. And so with this new information, you're just taking a vote again on whether or not to ratify the contract. You're not disemboweling the contract, you're not eradicating the contract. What you're doing is going back under parliamentary procedure, take up a matter that was handled hastily, and you are making a motion to reconsider and re-vote. Now, this vote will have more information. You have more information, you listen to him right here today, lie to us all. Now that in itself should excuse him from being your city attorney, my city attorney, these people's city attorney. Good luck with that.
There's some back row folks.
The reason I get a little bit excited is because it's just elementary, right? And we're asking elementary questions, like how do we do this? As if this wasn't going to come up tonight, but we don't know what we're doing, we don't know how to handle this. That's the frustration of everybody. Okay, so somebody needs to make a motion when this motion gets muddied up like it already has. Somebody needs to make a motion to fire the guy. You have those powers. Okay, you guys hold those powers. You don't need to go through some process and like get a declaratory judgment or, you don't need anything. You guys run the city and all of its affairs. You had to appoint him. It's in the MCA's. You can fire him, whoever. You can fire anyone you want. There's a lot of power you guys have. Imagine if he went and actually took, put a lien on, you know, maybe your house, right? Like he did with what he's been alleged
There was
to
never a
do.
lien on a house. You have no clue what you're talking
I-
about.
Who are you?
Dave Tennant.
Okay, zip your mouth while I'm
Oh,
speaking.
Let's be, let's
Don't-
calm down.
listen.
This is,
Don't
yes,
interrupt me.
Yes, yes.
Yes, what?
Let's
No, I
keep this
would
civil.
recommend you not.
Please.
Really.
Keep this civil.
I've been civil. I'm making a point. Now, if he put a lien on something and did all the underhanded stuff that he did, or is alleged to do, sorry, the allegations, of course he didn't do it, but the allegations, what would you do? Would you need to go figure out what hoops he jumped through? If you knew he did it, are you telling me you don't know how to dispose of him? Is that really what you're telling us, counsel? We don't know what to do. Nothing changes. It's an allegation that turned into, unlike the allegation that Alan Olson and Gary Neff made to the ODC, this one actually got heightened, and they took it up, and they filed a formal complaint that he got record of April 15th. When it was filed, the filing date, you would see that if you knew that. So you'd know that he did know on the 18th, because it was actually filed the 15th, and he knew it. So, take a stand for Libby. We can find, these guys are a dime a dozen. Reinsma, maybe we'll get him back. Okay, but let's not get another black guy for no reason. There are attorneys. The attorney that sent me on Friday, the copy of him, would take the job. And that person would be more than qualified. Of course, the person couldn't get to see Doug Roll, and no one else took the time to seek people out, so she didn't come. So, make the motion, dispose of him, move forward properly. You don't need to jump through any hoops. You guys can do it.
Yes, Mr. Canane. Oh, excuse me, there's one here.
My name's Barb Turner. I live at 212 Spencer Avenue, but I guess I'm here representing my mother who's sitting in the back row at 518 East 4th Street. I would like to make a point to point out that Mr. Olson actually asked you guys to put his appointment off and asked you to wait and asked you to look over the contract, and had you done that one simple thing, it was one day. It was one day, and you would have known everything that he failed to disclose. Him sitting here telling you that he did not know is a blatant lie. The public information is out there, and you can find it. And I think you have anybody that cares here enough to tell you the direction that they wish to see Libby go. I think they're speaking loud and clear. And so I think that you should take into consideration what the public wants versus how you feel, instead of sitting, oh, well, maybe if this contract or that contract, what contract? There's not a contract, but there was a contract. We couldn't even get a straight answer on a contract. So I am asking that you listen to the voices of the people of Libby, including my mother sitting in the back row, and terminate anything having to do with another sore that Libby is going to deal with, because it's going to be a problem one way or another. But one day is all it would have taken, and Mr. Olson had it. He had it. It just would have taken one day. And everybody knows that I support everybody here, but that is exactly all it would have taken, was one day to reconsider the contract that he wrote himself, and everybody would have been made aware, and this wouldn't even be a discussion, because you would be sitting here and you would absolutely not appoint him. And because you wouldn't have appointed him at that point, I feel that you should terminate him now, because if you wouldn't have appointed him then, he's not good enough now.
That's right.
That's
right.
Bill Canane, still at the same address. Excuse me, pardon my voice. Okay, we've got a motion on the floor, but we also need a plan B. Okay. Mr. Tennant is released, either voluntarily or involuntarily. We do need an attorney to continue on prosecutorial duties of the city. So I do ask that you seriously consider, although I know it may catch a little bit of flack in the background here, but looking at Mr. Tennant's law group there, to get either a temporary fit in, somebody who they are willing to guarantee and vet, totally vet, to the city council, no later than Friday of this week, that a replacement be made at this point. Then, at that time, we can move forward. If the guy that they say will do the job is approved, then it's fait complete. You guys have somebody there. But I just don't want to see the city left in a lurch either. Okay? It's just common sense. But you do have a good plan. Mr. Tennant can either voluntarily or involuntarily leave. You know, that's up to your decision there. But if that's the case, we do need somebody to back up. I think that's only common sense. Don't you agree? Mr. Tennant?
Oh, I agree, somebody's gonna have to do it. I
Okay.
don't know if anybody in my firm will do it.
Well, that's up to your powers to be, to make that decision. Okay? We have justifications here. It's been well vetted, or well put forward to you people now. So, yeah, it's just my opinion. You have to have a plan B to go with. Thank you.
Okay. Arlen?
Arlen McGill, 807 Wisconsin Avenue. Moving forward with this, let's see, you had the previous attorney who lied to everybody about claims, saying it was a $62.50 fine. His, though it might not be intentional, he's not being truthful or honest. The next attorney that you guys do hire, I'm not saying give them the old stress test of the a lie detector, but because of your guys' track record with the attorneys, that's almost about what it's becoming. And Mr. Tennant, no offense to you or your firm, but if your firm was under the consideration of this, you know, if you guys do that, I would make sure you just check every single person that they want to send our way for these types of violations with the Office of Disciplinary Action. This is just absolutely ridiculous. And sir, I know for a fact, if the papers knew about it, you knew about it. You looked right at her, your face turned red like it is now, and you knew.
Oh, I'm so pissed off about the allegations, that's why my face is red.
Well, yeah, because you were caught in the line. That's what happens. You know, when that thing, oh, you know what, I should have done the right thing, that's the feeling. That's why you're pissed. You're pissed at yourself.
So you don't think this is an option that if you voluntarily resign, your firm would assign somebody else?
I don't know who they assign.
You're the only one in the office? Or what? I don't know what that would possibly be.
Well, I just, kind of the attitude I heard from some of the others when they were rounding it around to the other attorneys, they didn't want to get involved in a situation like this. I just have a little bit thicker skin than they have. I don't know how else to put it.
One more question.
It's pretty, I mean, you've heard the allegations against me just tonight.
And if it would have been where the mayor would have come clean 90 days ago, you might not have been getting this flag now. But my one more question to you is, did you create an LLC to take this man's house?
I didn't create it, it was already in existence, and it wasn't a house, it's 3 unimproved acres.
Worth $85,000 apiece.
No, they're not worth that much.
You say.
All right, we got a motion still, right?
Anyway, we got a motion to reconsider.
I'm willing to accept his resignation.
What's that?
Which way are we gonna go here? If he's willing to resign, I'd say let him resign. Because of the black cloud we got started again, if he doesn't want to resign, I'd make the motion to fire him. And I think we fired the whole law firm because I knew the whole law firm.
Well, we knew there was an investigation, we didn't know there was gonna be.
Oh,
Now it comes out.
The reason that would have been if you'd have come to us and said, hey, there is an allegation against me.
But they happen all the time.
I mean, since I've been on the council in almost 4.5 years, there's only been one, for myself and Gary Neff, turned Alabama.
As far as I know, there are about 3,000 lawyers in the state, and there are a couple hundred of these complaints every year. Not to this formal level, but investigations.
And I understand that, same with the Office of Political Practice.
Because they've got 3 people that have to do something all day in that office.
Once the citizen has made a complaint and the ODC seen that it was legitimate, they're the ones pressing charges against you now. It's not the citizen who took his house or land.
So what they do is they present it to a panel,
Right.
and the way they presented it, if I was on the panel, I would have said, file a formal complaint as well. The way they twisted it.
We, you know, myself and Gary Neff did some pretty intense stuff with Alan Payne, and that's not quite the way it went. I mean, we had to prove to what we believed we were right on. But the ODC said we were wrong.
Brian,
We disagreed, but.
Brian would like to interject himself.
You know, I've had the reservations about all this after the fact, but I also gotta look at it as when allegations are brought up, no matter who it is, you are supposed to be presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Yes,
And so for that fact, I mean, we don't know if this is a frivolous lawsuit, somebody's just upset with him and bringing it up. I just.
It sounds like a rubber stamper.
But at a minimum, he needs to be suspended until the decision has come through.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
But
I'm sick to death
now,
of the black.
I'm not supposed to interact with the public. Here's where I'm thinking, people are saying, Eli, I could be totally off key here. Even if it's on public record on the internet there with the state saying that they issued it or whatever on April 15th. Even though it was issued that day, does that mean it's issued with the state, but then they don't send it out, so you don't get it till the 18th or 20th?
He gets it
Or
the
what?
day before it goes public, the day before, and he knows it.
On Tuesday, I received a text and a call. My brother called me, and another friend of mine called me from New Jersey that said, I see this all over Facebook. And going through my emails, I'd been emailed it the day before, right around the time I came up here.
There you go.
I had to be up here at 6 o'clock.
He said his firm knew. This is all I'm trying to say. He said his firm knew,
Okay,
but he
that's-
was unaware.
Please.
I've been standing here for 10 minutes with my hand raised.
I know, let's,
So can I come up there and speak, or do I just stand here and say it?
come on up. Need your name and address.
Barb Turner, 212 Spencer Road. He said that his firm knew. If his firm knew, he knew, without a doubt. So, with saying that, his firm allowed our city to be put at risk. Why would we trust them to put another attorney in his place? Why would we do that? Why would we even consider doing that?
Yeah.
They knew about this investigation. And with you saying, yes, everybody's innocent until proven guilty, but when did we start gambling with our city?
Amen.
We can't gamble. We cannot gamble, especially considering the past that we've had. We have to move forward. And there's no way that you guys can sit here and put somebody in his place from the firm that knew what scrutiny he was under,
Right.
but still allowed him to be, well, appointed, given a contract, whatever. How can they be trusted as well?
He's lying.
He has sat here and contradicted himself 3 or 4 times, and I know that each of you have got it. And if you haven't, that speaks of you guys. But I trust each and every one of you, and I know your intelligence level, and I know that all of you have caught it. Do the right thing. I do not trust his firm to put somebody in his place.
Well, if I could answer that, the issue for me is we've still got criminal litigation that has to happen. Okay, we've got cases, and I'm not gonna put Chief Watson on the spot, because I'm sure he doesn't know off the top of his head. I'm sure there's stuff on the docket scheduled right now. That stuff still has to happen. Somebody has to be there. By the time we go through this whole process, contract, no contract, 3 months, 9 months, 90 days, whatever, happens next time, something's gotta happen with those cases.
Hire the
So,
temporary
well, and
firm.
that's what we tried last time.
Right, but we gave him a contract one day.
No,
before all
not
this came
him, he's
came
talking.
public.
There was actually a temporary one-day attorney in between there and stuff.
Yeah.
And that can be done, but you gotta weigh those options. You know, if we get another representative from his firm who's willing to take care of these issues while we go through this, you know, looking for a new attorney process, you know, we can still take care of those criminal issues, you know, if we don't have some kind of a backup plan, like Rod said, then we're kind of setting ourselves out there.
Think of this, though. He'd already just said, he goes, I don't know if anybody else in my
Well, now,
firm.
that's why I asked him.
And then, because he would have had to have known what he was coming into, in all of this, he would have already asked. And so they're not, if they're not willing to do that, let's take him at his word for that. He's willing to go, let's do that down the door. Let's do what Troy does, let's see if we can get an attorney in here. And you know what, the extra savings and money for these cases, especially the big cases, you know what, the extra savings, let's give it to Chief Watson for another patrol officer.
Yeah,
it's a lot better use of the money than giving it to him.
That's why I wanted to ask him if that was even an option before
Where do we
before
want to go with this?
Still discussing. Go ahead.
And I hate to say that because I know we're not supposed to do it this way, but I mean, we've tried to look for the attorneys to come up here by the hour. No, it's what they're wanting to do anymore is these attorneys are taking on 3 and 4 up to 5 different cities. They're trying to do everything via Skype now. A lot of the places they're finding out it doesn't work very well. They're getting away from it. A lot of places will not have it. Mrs. Judge Briggs, no. Need to have somebody here. I believe that's the way it should be. I can't imagine trying to do a trial on the internet like that, so.
Your last attorney was like that too, and that didn't work out.
It did.
I know, like I said, trying to find somebody that wants to come up here also, I'm not making the excuse that that's a reason why I would still consider keeping him or the firm, but I mean, trying to find somebody around this whole state, I did make phone calls. I did have other contacts looking for us. Because of this going on that we have, there's nobody that wants to.
How can we really, at this point, trust this man to put someone on trial and do it fairly and prosecute them fairly when he has sat here and lied to all of us and contradicted himself? How can we trust him to do that?
How can we trust you if you guys put him in that position?
I mean, he has sat here and contradicted himself a lot, and for him to be fair and honest as a city attorney with the people that are on trial for crimes, I don't believe that, not for a second. And I don't think our council should settle for anything less.
Sorry. Where do you want to,
You have a comment right here.
what do we got? Yes, sir.
I have just one question. My name's Cody Santel. I live at 202 Woodland Road. Is there any ramifications if you're found guilty of a criminal act as far as your prosecuted crimes, your court cases that you have prosecuted? Will they overturn it all? Anything like that?
There are no crimes alleged.
I'm just talking about the cases we've prosecuted.
Talking about the cases you prosecuted, are they gonna affect, if you are found guilty of misconduct, it's not gonna affect those at all?
I don't know anything about that.
First off, answer.
Where's your motion stand?
My motion, as far as I'm concerned, I think we should accept his resignation.
All right, that's the motion you're making?
I'll make a motion.
That's the offer he's making?
Well, he made the offer to resign. I'll make a motion that
If
we
that's
either.
what you guys want.
Well, I think with the
I'll
black
second.
cloud that's been moved in here,
Yep.
I'll make the motion that you either resign on your own or we fire him.
I'll second your motion that we accept his resignation if the council votes that way.
Discussion on that issue, or do you want to move to a vote?
Anything else? I'm done with discussion, I guess. All right. Call for the question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
What did you,
Read the one.
I said yes, if he wants to resign because of all that's going on.
So
I have
it's 3 to 1? Oh, you
I
want
think
to
it's just a late vote.
Good job, guys.
Good job.
That's the way to move Libby forward.
And with one more comment, Doug, I hope the next attorney can pull in here.
I honestly said did not know anything about this. I had no clue.
Until this was in good, believe something.
I wish I would have, Anyway, on to the next, approval of the 2016 renewal application of employment practices coverage. I think, I'll let Jim explain that to me, because he kind of worked with MIA on that.
Yeah, every 3 or 4 years, MIA gets a hold of us with our personnel policy, we go through it. There's different things change with the laws and the MCA codes, and they just update everything in our policy, so they just send us stuff. They look at ours, they review it, they see things they don't like, that before they'll cover us, they want us to change the language. So that's what we did, they changed some, not a lot, but just some, and so they, in order for them to cover us, they have to go through there and okay it. And you guys have to vote that it's okay to vote for them to do that. They're our insurance cover, or our carrier, they're the ones that cover us for those things, so they're the ones that actually make the language for that policy.
What were the changes that they're looking at changing?
Like the Hatch Act was put in a couple of years back, we never did have that updated. Some of the handicap issues have changed, like we put it up front here, so different things like that have to be added into it.
Just brings us into compliance with federal and state law, sure is what it does. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2016 renewal application for the employment practice coverage in the memorandum of limited liability coverage.
I second that.
Any discussion? All the questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I brought the street maintenance and lighting assessments up for the simple reason that I don't think we ever talk about how they're done and what they are. If you notice on your city bill, your city tax bill, there's a street maintenance and a lighting maintenance fund there. And each year we set those assessments. Now, normally they haven't changed much, if at all. Every year they just kind of roll over into the same thing. So we do have the capability to either lower or raise those assessments. The street maintenance was put into effect. This change, and I'll get to this in a minute, was put into effect sometime in late 60s, early 70s, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood, to have a fund just for street maintenance. They called it sprinkling then, but it was the same thing, street maintenance. And then lighting, that pays our light bill, power bill for the street lighting and the different stuff like that. So, and what they found was out over time, and then this was done in 1980, I think, somewhere in that area, the two other new resolutions where they had to change the assessments because they were charging by city law, and when anything bigger than